Naturally, when you see the cost of living in any way, be it the currency improvement of the Kenyan currency, which is the Kenyan shilling,
yes,
being affordable, it's good news for everybody.
Yes.
It's good news for everybody because Kenya still remains an import company.
Yes.
Sorry, a net importer of commodities.
You see, I think when the deputy president said
Yes.
that this is a company that has a lot of shares,
Yeah.
It got into you guys. Both of you have said this is a company.
But actually, the
It
country,
is.
actually, countries are companies.
Yes,
When
yeah,
you come
it
to
is.
think of
Yes.
it, they are actually institutions with people and people that invest in them.
Yes.
We invest through our taxes. So actually, countries are companies. But I was saying that naturally, you would expect a good reaction when you see the performance, particularly of our currency against the dollar, because Kenya being a net importer of commodities, it means it needs the dollar more than the dollar needs us.
Yes.
And so anytime the cost of acquiring that dollar goes down, it means then we are able to bring in commodities slightly cheaper. And also in terms of national debt, one of the things that has really created a confusion as to whether or not we've hit the debt ceiling, the Kenyan debt ceiling, is because most of the international debt has been taken in international currency.
Yeah.
So Kenya could owe an institution, say the World Bank, $1 billion. And if the dollar shoots up to 60, it means we owe them almost 160 billion.
Yes.
But if within 3 weeks or 4 weeks that turns to 20 to 120 shillings, that's a reduction by over 40 shillings.
Yes.
You understand? It has a huge impact in terms of the strain the government has in terms of honoring its debt, because the debt currency still remains in dollars, and that is something to be happy.
So at least somebody is doing the right thing. We are seeing leadership within the financial sector.
And actually not necessarily the right thing.
Yes.
It's just, it was expected because when you look at the kind of performance, for example, we always talk about this, the three major expenses the country has. They were almost, this year, government spent over 516 billion importing food. They spent another 600 plus billion, I saw CS Murkomen mentioning the other day, importing oil. So those are some of the key things that we are spending on. So specifically for food is because we had a challenge with the food production in the previous harvest.
Yes.
So the government had to allies and import a lot of food. So of course it had an impact on how the demand of the dollar is, and would naturally increase demand for the dollar. And as the higher the demand, the more the value. So that could have been the reason. But you see, last year the president announced that the country had harvested at least 61 million bags, which meant we are fairly sufficient in terms of what we produce, particularly for the basic foods.
Yes.
And I think when he was talking about that, he was referring for both maize and beans, which are our staple food, because it's the same maize that can be porridge in the morning and it can be supper in the evening. So with that, then it means there's a reduction in terms of the demand for importation of food commodities.
In terms of the stocks and all those things.
Yes.
What happens is that, do you know, actually the sensitivity of the market is at a level whereby there is sad news. Sad news can make actually the Nairobi stock market, you find the shares
They
calm
just
down.
plummet.
Yes, they calm down. Or good news can actually make the shares even to start doing very well.
Yes.
There is nothing much you are doing. It is actually the perception that actually this is good and this is bad.
Yes.
When it is good, things start happening. What has happened is actually one thing. Every country is actually glued on one thing that we call trust.
Yes.
If people trust what is happening, not necessarily the citizens, even the world, because this is a world market. It is a global village.
Yes.
So whereby we do so many businesses, even with the external countries. So what has happened is people are actually having a wait and see about Kenya.
Yes.
Because as we said in terms of mood rating, we were saying that Kenya was actually at red.
Yes, we were bad.
Yes, we were bad. So you see, because many people are consuming that, even the outer, in terms of the external world, the external countries from Kenya, they were consuming that. What was happening is that in them, the perception was that Kenya is not doing well at all.
True.
One of the things that they have done well, and that's why you are saying we can give it to them, is that they have built some confidence. To the extent, you see, you remember the Eurobond?
Yes.
It was one of the tests, litmus tests, whereby people are saying Kenya will not be able to salvage itself.
Yes.
But you know what? When actually they floated, even in terms of you know, the financial currencies and financial, all those things. And they say there is the board and all these things. They were taken very fast. And many people were actually willing to keep on actually bringing some dollars. This actually brought a lot of confidence. And when they have brought this confidence, you find that many people now started feeling I can invest. And there are some people who are finding that if, for example, I have some interest in Kenya, this is the time I need to do it. Because if I don't do it right now, like even you know, there is a lot of happening. I realized at the people who are selling lands, do you know actually 60% of their business is from diaspora?
The people who are selling land?
Yes, most of the guys, the people who are buying land
from the diaspora.
Actually in big chunk is actually from diaspora. So you know what was happening in terms of that particular time? Like sometimes, and even I talked to one of the guys, I have some guys who are dealing with land, and I talked with one of the guys and he was telling me we have cashed in. You find actually, because you see our currency was low, for them, if for example you are talking about we are selling a land for 1 million, do you know it is too little for them? Because the currency, Kenya currency, has hit 160. So it was good time for them to buy. So you find that many people started now bringing in and transacting with the country. And that's where you have seen, because of building that confidence and trust, it has actually made the country to look good. And these are some of the things that we see happening. We may not know that is happening, but there is a lot that the government is doing, because you know the problem, and I can tell you the problem where it sits. Many people, and especially even for us who are here, we can be accused in one way or another. We like actually talking much about the fertilizer saga.
The bad news.
The bad news. We actually like talking about them and actually bringing them out in such a big way. But if there is a small gain, something that is happening in the country, it is said once and it is forgotten.